Okay, let's take two on this one. Sorry, actually, Ace went under the table and messed up the cable for the webcam. And then when I try to push him away, you probably saw me doing that with one arm. He plopped on the ground and made enough of a thud to pull, like for the cable to come out again, I guess. So then when I went to go and readjust it, he went right under the table again and just, it was bad. So this is take two of our live stream. And if anyone pops in, thanks for coming back in. I'm sorry. I saw a couple people, Andrew, Mike, Z, a couple people popped in. Classic pup move. What's up? How's it going? Cunning. How's it going, dude? Yeah, I know. It was, well, we're still adjusting to each other. I'll be honest. I love Ace, but he's not Echo. He's a completely different creature. He's like Echo right now, drinking that water really loud, but he's very aloof and he's very unaware of his surroundings because he's still learning a lot. So unfortunately, he does make video recording and especially when I'm doing like the pre-recorded stuff, he does make it a little hard sometimes because and not like he's being a bad dog. He just is, wants attention. So he's just laying next to me and then coming under the table and pulling the wires out on accident because he's so big. So yeah, it's just we're still adjusting to each other, which is fine. But I'm leaving the sliding glass door open because he likes going in and out of there, and that should help distract him a little bit. What's up? How's it going? How's it going, boss? How's everything? I hope everything is well. Everything's going okay, man. I appreciate it. Ace clearly wasn't ready to stream yet. No, he was not. He gets like that. I recorded something earlier today for Halo, like a Halo review, and I did it out here, and he was just a nightmare. And so yeah, and I'm still kind of cleaning up my kitchen, so you'll see like dishes and stuff. So forgive me. I have more Venom stuff on this side, but every time I try to adjust the camera, it comes unplugged. So I'm just not going to mess with it anymore. So this is kind of the angle for now where you kind of see most of my apartment behind me. So today, what are we going to talk about? I have Red Sonja, Spider-Man. So I want to talk about that today. And then I also want to go over some other Morbius comics. So just random Morbius conversations. This was a series we discussed not too long ago on the show. I think it was like a year and a half ago. And the video got taken down. Like I've never gotten like a full-on takedown of a video. I've had people ask me to take stuff down. And if it's a reasonable request, I usually will go, okay, yeah, that's fine if you want me to, if it bothers you that much. But I'm just a dude talking about comics. So I don't know what happened in this one. So just to be careful, I'm not going to talk about this comic, but I actually gave it a pretty decent review. So I was really surprised. I was like, did someone who worked on it hate my review? Or was it just like someone just being a troll or a D-bag? So I don't know, whatever the case was. But yeah. Yeah, the Halo series is getting bashed online. Well, I'll post my review later. It might surprise some people, my reaction. I have not seen anyone else's review of it still yet. Normally, I wait to watch other reviews until I record mine. And then pretty much soon after I record mine, while I'm editing mine, I might watch other people's reviews just to kind of get their point of view on it. But yeah, no, I'm been staying away from it. So I don't know if it's positive or negative still. But if you're telling me people are bashing it online, it can make sense. And I go over why that could be because I do anticipate that stuff sometimes. So in my review that I recorded today, I do talk about why people might bash it, who are like hardcore fans and stuff. So what's up, Comics and Cinema? How are you? Welcome. But Andrew was here earlier. I think he had to bounce. He had to do like some chores and stuff. So Andrew, I'm sorry that I didn't get you in on this stream. You were waiting so patiently for me in the last stream to get it started. And here we are. So I'm sorry we missed you, bud. Hopefully you're watching this later. Thank you for the emails and reaching out to me and stuff. Some of you guys have been. I know I haven't posted a video Venom related in like a month, maybe a little bit more. And then I try to do a couple live streams, but again, I was asked to take one of those down. So I did. And then I was just like, I don't know. I've been in a mood lately and I don't know. It's been tough. Like as far as like mood for me, because a lot has happened to me all at once in the past 3 months since Echo passed away on December 27th. So almost 3 months now, almost to the day. I've been without Echo, and Ace is great. I love him, but he's been adding stress because of how expensive it's been to care for him. Like when I got him, I was told he was in like bad condition, but he was in really, really bad condition. And I think we've spent about $1,300 or $1,400 just in the 2 months that I've had him, 2 months and like a week that I've had him. And it's not his fault. I mean, he just was never cared for in his whole life. And I feel bad because this is his first time being in a home, and he struggles. Like I said, he pulls cables out of things on accident. He just, everywhere I walk, he's walking right next to my legs, so I constantly trip over him, which is not good because I'm already kind of off balance lately anyway. So like I said, we're adjusting and we're trying to make the most of it, buddy. And yeah. So anyway, we're getting there though. You've only played one Halo game, Eddie says. I'm completely indifferent to it. Probably not going to watch the series. Yeah, that's fair. I watched it, and like I said, I'll put my review up later. But I don't know if it's a must watch, but I kind of liked it. Hey, Andrew is here. Okay, what's up? Hello again. Hello. Glad we didn't miss you. Georgie says, hi, I feel pretty sleepy. So yeah, Morbius ain't a pretty situation. Yeah, so I've been staying away. I guess people saw it already. Some people saw it early. So the reviews are starting to go up. I'm staying away from that. So tonight, all I'm going to want to talk about, so since we're not going to talk about that series, this Morbius series by Vita Ayala, I tried once before and it didn't go well. The video got taken down. So, and then I'm also going to avoid talking about the new Ben Reilly Spider-Man. This is a variant cover, by the way, with Venom Miles or Carnage Miles, whatever it is, and Black Suit Spider-Man. But in this issue, we have Ben Reilly Spider-Man fighting Morbius. And I'm not going to really get into that either because I'm still doing the history of the Ben Reilly episodes. And I have 2 already written and kind of planned out. I just need to get some more images for it. And then I have an idea for what I'm going to do for part 3. And then part 4 will be the whole Beyond story. So I'm just going to save all of the Spider-Man Beyond for one big video that we'll do like probably in a couple months. So since all that's, off the table, what we'll talk about before we get into Morbius, we'll talk about Spider-Man Red Sonja, because I don't have a ton to say about this book, but at the same time, like, I do want to say some things about it. I just didn't want to make a whole episode on it. I didn't feel like it was that good to do a detailed analysis on. The writing's pretty bad. The artwork is meh. It's inconsistent. They did a smart thing by getting Michael Turner to do all the covers, so the covers look great, but the book itself just wasn't big. So I figured we could just do a live discussion about it. So let me catch up on some comments here, and then we're going to just dive into talking about Red Sonja Spider-Man. And the reason we're doing that is because Venom is in this. So we'll talk a little bit about that. That way we get a little bit of Venom in here before we dive into the Morbius stuff. I can also empathize with you, just everything editing into what limited everything you have mentally and financially, eating into, yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. I mean, as some of you guys know, you've been emailing me and stuff, and I've shared, some of the troubles that I haven't put online. So yeah, it's been just an awful 3 months, like just really. But some of it is like, a lot of it's out of my control. And the problem is I keep trying to deal with it like it's in my control, and I can't. And it's hard to let go. So I'm just dealing with that kind of stuff. Yeah, for all the good shelters do, they can be very vague about the health and social issues with the animals. Yeah, they kept saying he was just depressed and he wasn't eating because he was depressed. But here he was in like a world of pain because of how bad his ears were infected. And they're really bad. Like there's another procedure they want me to do that I just don't have the money for. And it's like $700. And so they said they have someone who likes to donate sometimes. So they're going to reach out to that person. I was like, if they can at least split it with me, I could do it. It's not that I don't want to help Ace. I just literally don't have the money to do it. And it breaks my heart. Because so some things I'm trying to do at home, since I can't pay for them. So I'm trying to swab and clean his ears and get some medicine down there and help some of the infection that's still down there. But he gets violent. He doesn't, it hurts a lot when you get into his ears. And so it's been tough for sure. And with him, I just feel bad for him. For me, I'll get, I'm fine. I got my own stuff to deal with. But for him, I just was really hoping we could get him to be much healthier than he is right now before his heartworm stuff starts next month. So we'll get there. We're getting him there. I saw the first episode. I'm just going to leave my opinions to myself. Fair enough. We'll talk about it. Save it for the episode. I'm having an X-Men marathon, not Origins, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix. On popular opinion, I like Last Stand. Hey, that's okay. Well, enjoy your marathon. I love the X-Men. So, hey, what's up, Andy? How's it going, dude? What's up, brother? Good to see you. Sonic 2 does look good. DreamWorks, the bad guys looks good. Northman movie looks good. Morbius looks good for a day that's going to release on April 1st. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But some people I think already seen it, which is crazy to me. But I guess that's only April 1st, only a few days away or less than a week away. So yeah. But yeah, Sonic, I like the first one a lot. So I'm looking forward to the new one. Amazing Spider-Man has come practically unreadable for too many authors, good or bad, has ruined the pacing of the story. I did drop out. I have the Beyond story up to part 10, but that's when I stopped collecting comic books monthly. So I don't buy stuff at the comic store monthly anymore. I did go in the other day and pick up Ghost Rider #1 because there's a new issue came out, and I just wanted it because I like to have all the Ghost Riders, first appearances and stuff. And this is just a new #1, so I just wanted to have it for my collection. But it was pretty decent. I don't know if I'll go buy every issue, but I don't really go into the comic store anymore. So yeah, the Spider-Man stuff, it lost me around part 10. I was like, yeah, I wish Zeb Wells was just the sole writer on it, because every time they bring in a different writer that's not Zeb Wells, I don't find myself enjoying the story at all. So yeah, too many cooks in that kitchen for sure. I know nothing of that series. However, the covers look absolutely amazing. Yeah, these covers for Red Sonja Spider-Man are great. So great transition there. So this book is, I'm trying to think, I'll just look at his name here. Michael Avon Oeming. He was a big writer in like the early 2000s and into mid 2000s and stuff. And Brian Buccellato, actually, who became a writer and an artist himself in some ways, and colorist. He was a colorist for a long time. He did the colors on this, and Mel Ruby did the artwork. And the artwork is good, but not like the cover is good. Like, look how great that looks. You got Colon Goth in the back. You got Venom, Red Sonja, and Spider-Man by the late, great Michael Turner. Just really, really good. When you get to the inside of the book, like, it's not terrible, like, by any means, but there are panels that are very inconsistent. Like, this looks like a great image, but then when you get to some of the smaller single panel images, like some of the detail is just not there and not that great. And there's a lot of talking heads in this. And I'll be honest, the dialogue is not that good. Like, there's Spider-Man's jokes to Mary Jane and stuff are just not that great. Like, he's trying to basically Colon Goth, who is a Conan and Red Sonja villain. He's come back to New York and he's retrofitting New York. He casts a spell to make it look like medieval times. So he's changing everything in like a bubble. Like, so he picked one part of New York where the Daily Bugle is and a couple other places. And everyone now looks like they're from the Renaissance and they're all talking like that as well. And Spider-Man is caught in the middle of it. And Mary Jane, she got the role in a Broadway theater play of Macbeth. And so while she's dressed in her garb, she hears a voice by Colon Goth who says, hey, you have the spirit of Red Sonja in you, and I want to kill Red Sonja, basically. So you're going to be the avatar for Red Sonja. So go get her sword and awaken her. And that's basically what Mary Jane does. She goes, grabs a sword, and transforms into Red Sonja. And you're probably thinking, well, why is that a thing? Like, why is that a story element? And that's because that actually happened before in the comics in a what if issue. So here you have Mary Jane grabbing the sword and then becoming Red Sonja and having to fight Spider-Man. Basically, he's like, all right, I want these two to kill each other or at least be distracted enough so I can pull off my plan, which is to, transform New York, become ultra powerful, that kind of boring BS. But there actually was a what if comic book back in the day. What if Spider-Man and Red Sonja? And in this, the sword of the She-Devil is picked up by Mary Jane, and Mary Jane briefly becomes Red Sonja. So this is this actually again happened before, and so this is Michael Oeming just kind of building off of that old what if story and basically making it continuity. But then again, I guess this could kind of not be considered continuity either, because it's not really set in any specific point of Spider-Man's history. It's just picking up off that what if issue. So that's it. That's basically the plot. And then somehow Venom gets wrapped into this because he's in New York and Eddie is, talking to himself, or talking to the symbiote saying like, we used to be a hero and Spider-Man kind of ruined our reputation. And he's kind of going through that thing. And then Colon Goth calls to him and brings the symbiote to Colon Goth. And then Colon Goth ends up bonding with it and taking it away from Eddie. And then he becomes Colon Venom. his name. And then meanwhile, Joe Robbie Robertson is leading a pack of people to fight against Kulan Goth, like an uprising, and which is kind of cool. They use Joe Robbie for that. And then J. Jonah Jameson is the scribe of Kulan Goth. So Kulan Goth picks J. Jonah Jameson to write down his, conquests and all the victories he's about to have. So that's kind of fun. And in the meantime, though, Venom does turn on Kulan Goth, and they do fight each other, but that's only until, he separates the symbiote from Eddie and throws Eddie off of like a cliff. So you think Eddie's dead, and then that's when he bonds with the symbiote. And so as he bonds, and he looks something a little bit like this, Kulan Venom. And while he's bonding with that, and he fought Venom, and took the symbiote from him, Scorpion and Hobgoblin showed up along with the Lizard, and they've been transformed, and they fight Spider-Man and Red Sonja. So that's pretty much it. I mean, like, that's the whole story. It's very easily summarized. It's not very exciting, in my opinion, although that has a couple good moments. The dialogue is not great. Hobgoblin kisses Red Sonja just because, I guess. I don't know. Like, they just throw things like that in there. They throw a couple of maybe a little too overtly sexual comments from Spider-Man, or sexist comments from Spider-Man. And then he like tries to backpedal, like, oh, okay, you're an independent woman, that's cool, or whatever. And it's, I don't know, it's pretty bad. Like, even for Spider-Man banter, it's pretty bad. But in the end, they all come together, fight Kulan Goth. And just when he's about to win, Eddie shows up and summons the symbiote back to him. And that gives the heroes an advantage. And then also Red Sonja, Mary Jane, she can sense Mary Jane in her mind. And since Peter's about to die, Mary Jane's like, Red Sonja, like, listen to me, like, let my memories of Peter flow into you so that you'll fight harder for him and protect him. And so that happens, and Red Sonja ends up helping destroy Kulan Goth and sending him back and making New York back to normal again. And then at the end, Spider-Man and Mary Jane reconnect, and she has, I think Vermin shows up during this too, actually. But at the end, they take away the symbiote, they fight him, they beat him, and they save New York City. So, and that's it. And then Spider-Man gets a moment with Mary Jane where he kisses her, and he says, man, he goes, you looked really good in that metal bikini. And then she's kind of like, wait a minute, what? Metal bikini? So yeah, just kind of like to end on a comedic note. But there is a moment where they go and show Red Sonja back in her own timeline, and she's been shot in the present day. So when she goes back, she pulls the bullet out, and she's like, oh, a trophy from my battles in the future. And she's like, but at least Kulan Goth is gone, or defeated for now. And now that I'm back in my original timeline, I'll stay here and wait for him to come back and attack again. So anyway, that's the story. That's all that really happens. And like I said, the art's okay, but it's just a little inconsistent at times, and the dialogue's pretty bad. But that's why I didn't want to make a full episode on it. I just thought I'd talk about it here, and you guys can give me your thoughts. So let me catch up on the comments, and we'll get into that. Dear God, like late stage ear infection where they want you to go in and do surgical drainage. We've already done one drainage. And then we also, something burst in his ear and like pus came out. So yeah, he's been through the ringer, Ace has. But now his ear, which was like double the size of this ear, now his ears are regular size each for the first time probably in years for him. So now we got to they want me to do another deep clean, and they want to sedate him because he's if you put an ear swab anywhere near his ears, even if you go in like a very little bit, he starts getting aggressive. And I guess he almost attacked them last time at the vet when they were trying to get in there. So I got to pay for the sedation, like the medicine they're going to use, keeping him there all day. Like there's all these little, it's a little overpriced, I feel. But I want him to be healthy. So it's like, and if I had the 700, I would pay it, like no problem. I just don't right now. We got to pay rent soon. And after that, I'll be broke again. Maybe with enough money to get groceries and get him another bag of food. And that's probably all I'll have until my next paycheck. And I don't even know if we're going to qualify for a work bonus this month. We're trying to get the biggest bonus we can, if we hit but we have to make a certain amount for the bonus to increase. And so there's a pretty good shot we're going to make 105%, which is like a couple $100 bonus, which is nice. But then again, that'll only pay for half the surgery. If we get 110%, of our monthly goal, that bonus will be more. And that probably would be enough to cover the surgery, but it wouldn't leave me any money to save towards rent next month, either too. So minus what my check will be, which isn't that big. So it's a lot, but I mean, we'll figure it out. We always do, and we'll make it happen. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the money thing. Like I said, they're reaching out to someone who likes to donate because she can't adopt every dog that, comes through the shelter. So I guess what she does to give back is people who do adopt, she tries to help pay for at least one of their procedures. And so we haven't reached out to her yet. So the vet is going to reach out to her now and see if she's willing to, I said, if she's even willing to pay half, chances are I'll make the 105% bonus and I can pay the other half. So I'm hoping if that happens, then we're good. Then Ace is going to get his heartworm. Those are sponsored. Those are already paid for. So I don't actually have to pay for those 2 treatments. And then after that, me and him are going to get a vet closer to our house because this vet is like an hour away. And with gas prices being the way they are, I just can't keep driving out there. And they're expensive. Like, I think they're good, but they're expensive. And I think we can find someone good that's close by here because Ace Echo had a vet not too far from where I live. And that's just an easier commute. And they were a good doctor as well. So you think Morbius is going to be good? I hope so. I really hope so, for sure. You really should pick up the new Lethal Protector series. It's Michelini and feels like it's ripped right out of the 90s. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm so burnt out on Venom comics. Like I almost to the point where I don't find the character interesting anymore. I'm not kidding. That's how I didn't realize I was that burnt out until I've had like this 2 months without talking about him that much. I am so excited to talk about Venom 3, the movie, and Tom Hardy and all that. And if they do like Venom in the video game that's coming out, the Spider-Man 2 video game, all that stuff I'm very excited to get into and sink my teeth into. But the Venom comic books, and I don't even care that it's Michelini. Like I did for a little bit. I was like, oh, that could be good. But then it's just like a year one origin retelling kind of, and it's going to tie into the current book somehow. And I don't care. I just don't care. I know it's going to break people's hearts in some way. They're going to be like, dude, you're the Venom vlog. It's like, yeah, but I don't know. I have my limits. I think I hit my limit with talking about the comic book character. And I'm more interested in seeing what Tom Hardy does for the 3rd movie than anything else. Your world sucks. I want to glamour everything up. Yeah. And now I got to go. See ya. Hey, good luck, man, with all your stuff you got to do today with the fence and everything. I saw KN Carly's TFCon video, and one of the questions he asked was how the fans deal with the show that people hate it because it's different and the show that people hate it because it's the same. TFCon video. So Transformer Con. Oh yeah, I guess that is going on right now. How the fans deal with a show that people hate because it's different. I mean, that's true. I mean, there is a lot of that. Like like the Batman. I like that cartoon, but a lot of Batman fans hate it because it follows the Batman animated series from the 90s, and everyone loves that one. So when the Batman came along, they hated the show. And me, I liked it because it was different. I liked that it wasn't like a rehash or a retelling in any way. It had very, very few similarities to what we had seen before. So sometimes being different works and sometimes being different doesn't. And actually, in most cases, though, it both works and doesn't work. But you got to just try to make it compelling enough to get people to watch it, whether they like it or hate it. If they're watching it, you're doing your job. So yeah, it's interesting though. I wonder, what did KN Carlisle's response? What was that? What was their response to that question? I read the Spider-Man Red Sonja book after you mentioned it in another video. I personally didn't like it much, but I like the art, maybe a little too much. No, yeah, the art's fine. It's just in some panels it's inconsistent. So it's like, and I get that. Like I used to draw too, and there'd be panels and I drew a whole comic book one time, and that was a real eye opener. And I was looking through it and I was like, oh my God, these panels suck. But like these splash pages and these panels were good. So I'm only saying that from experience. So like in my experience, like I've seen my work not look good. And when I was going through this, I'm like, man, these 4 pages are amazing. And then you get to like the 5th page, I'm like, ugh, like, okay, that feels like that. Not that it was phoned in, but just like the quality wasn't there. But these books, they got to get released every month. So sometimes you don't have time to do that in every panel. So I get that. Transformer writers, along with Ultimate Spider-Man and 2017 cartoon writers, answered this question really well. I recommend it. Well, what's the answer? That's because that is, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It's one of those out of your control situations where if you create a show and people hate it, it's like, well, you just hope that you did your best, and then maybe you listen to some of the criticism, and then next time you get in a position where you can do something like translate something or do a show, you try to do something more along the lines of what people wanted in this one, but it's a case-by-case basis. And sometimes you can take that feedback, apply it, do it better the second time, and then people still hate you for it. So it's I don't know. Sometimes it's a lose-lose, and then sometimes it's a win-win. It's just it's gambling. It's really just gambling. Speaking of Morbius, Samael says, "Boy, I'm scared about this movie. LOL. Sony seems to be bending itself backwards in order to make it work, and people have already seemed like they're waiting for it to fail." I mean, that's every Sony Marvel movie, though, right? Ever since Venom 1, that's all people talk about is, I hope it fails. I hope it doesn't, succeed. If it does, look, the sooner it fails, the faster these characters can be put into the Marvel universe. And that's how people are with these Sony movies. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Just like Venom 1. Venom 1 is, you can talk to some people and they vehemently hate that movie. And then other people really like the movie, or in the middle on it. But that movie made $800 million or almost $900 million. So it doesn't matter really what people think. That shows that the brand is strong enough and they can keep it going. Morbius, that's what they got to hope for Morbius. If Morbius, I mean, this movie's been pushed back so many times, but it's in a better release position than it was a couple times before. So if this movie makes like $500-600 million worldwide, then they'll probably consider that a big success. If it makes like $200 million worldwide, probably not. Probably consider it a fail. And if you see Morbius again, it'll be in a Venom movie or something, or a Spider-Man movie, and it won't be in his own movie, most likely. Hey, what's up, Caballero? How's it going? So speaking of Morbius, good transition. So we've talked about Morbius's first appearance before on the show. And we also, and Andy, I'll get to your comment in 1 second. We talked about Morbius's first appearance, which is Amazing Spider-Man 101 and 102. It's the arc where Spider-Man has the 6 arms, and he goes down to Louisiana to try to find Dr. Connors, who turned into the lizard, and he's trying to cure him. And while he's down there, they pass this tanker ship out in the ocean where Morbius comes from, and then ends up on land and gets in a battle with Spider-Man and the lizard. So that was his first appearance in the comic books. And we've talked about that. We've talked about the time he teamed up with Venom or fought Venom 2 in Enemy Within. And then we also talked about his appearance in Spider Island, where he kind of showed up to do something heroic. He was working for Horizon Labs. So we've kind of gone over a good chunk of the big moments of his history. But I think the biggest moment that we haven't covered yet, that I've talked about on my Ghost Rider show when I used to do that, now those episodes have been folded in as Seek and Destroy episodes, so you can still find them on the channel. But it's the time where he was part of the Midnight Suns. The Midnight Suns was this cool run in the 90s where basically Marvel started up their own shared universe of characters. I mean, obviously Marvel's always a shared universe in comic books, but they brought back Ghost Rider and they made a new Ghost Rider named Dan Ketch. And he hit the ground running, man. He was in, crossing over with other characters. He was in Marvel Comics Presents. He was, teaming up with X-Men and Spider-Man and all these characters and Venom, the Spirits of Venom book. And he just got really popular. And so they started to spread out his circle and bring in characters like the Night Stalkers, which is Blade and Hannibal King and characters like that. Then you also have the Morbius book. You had the Darkhold book. And then you had the Spirits of Vengeance book with Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze. So this whole run, and Doctor Strange at one point started getting tied into it all too. So this is what the Midnight Suns was. And this is most of my knowledge of Morbius is from this era. It is not from, even some of the recent stuff. I don't know too much about him. But most of my knowledge of him is his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man and then this stuff. And I know he's appeared in like some Marvel team-ups or 2-in-1s or some of those, I think a couple times, but I haven't really read those in years and years. So Morbius #1 is where I think was my first introduction to the character before the Spider-Man animated series came out, or before I had seen him in the animated series, because I think he showed up in like seasons 2 or 3. And so that was the one where he shows up and he had like a mouth, like Vampire Hunter D style. He had like these little suction cups on his hand, and he drank blood or plasma from people because they had to fit, him into a PG audience. So they did. And then at that same time, they had Blade hunting him and Punisher and all that stuff. So it was a really fun season of Spider-Man. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. But the Midnight Sun stuff is kind of my introduction to Morbius. In this story here, he starts off and Lilith has come back to Earth, and she's gathering all these demons, and the Lilin is what she calls them, her children. and they want to infect Morbius and turn him into a creature under her control. And so he's out drinking blood, and he kills this woman in this first issue and drinks her blood. And what's interesting about that is at the end of that issue, this one, Ghost Rider shows up and sees that he wasn't in control when he did it, so Ghost Rider can't punish him. So he doesn't. So he asks Morbius, okay, join us so we can keep an eye on you. And that's when you get stories like this, Midnight Suns #1, where in it, Morbius actually has to pay for the girl he killed in that first issue. This guy shows up named Gunther, and it turns out he's the father of that young lady that died, and he wants to get revenge on Morbius, and Morbius ends up, saying, hey, don't kill me because I'm about to save someone. So let me at least go save them, and I'm sorry about your daughter. And so Gunther he's like, no, I'm going to kill you. And then so Morbius gets away and says, look, just follow me. If you want to kill me, then kill me, but I'm going to go save this other girl and make up for the horrible things I've done when I wasn't in control. So that's kind of his redemption in this issue, which is written by Len Wein, and it was done really, really well. And then there's Bloodbath, which is another short story in Midnight Suns #2. And so this is another good one where Morbius is fighting like some giant creature that's like robotic and has like a mushy, baby head or something underneath. It's really weird. And he like calls it his son, or he's basically saying like, yeah, this could have been anyone under here. Just some poor soul got mutated and turned into this weapon, and it was up to me to stop him. And then he like uses his hypnotic abilities to make this young girl see Michael the Archangel to calm her, because when she sees him, he looks like, he's mutating. He's turning into even more of a bat-like creature. And that's kind of his arc throughout, these books. This is part of the Midnight Massacre story. And this is leading up to the Siege of Darkness, where Morbius turns out to be a sleeper cell for Lilith. She has corrupted him, and now he is secretly turning into a creature that Ghost Rider at one point has to come and stop. And so when he can't stop him, he says like, all right, I'm going to give you one more chance. Like, you didn't really kill anyone innocent today, but I can feel it in you that you have the urge to. So like, I'm going to keep an eye on you. And that's when Siege of Darkness, this big crossover happens where Morbius is, there we go. I keep looking at the light, and I'm so sorry for the reflection. But yeah, so Morbius is here teaming up with Ghost Rider in the Midnight Suns and everything. And it turns out he's kind of like a sleeper cell agent working for Lilith, who corrupts him and turns him against the heroes. So at one point he does betray people in the storyline. And then he has to spend the rest of his series after that on another redemption arc. So that's pretty much all I really know about Morbius, is that a couple appearances maybe afterwards, obviously him in Spider Island. And then that mini series that I read, I think there was another series before that where he wore like a hoodie, and that's something that's kind of inspiring the new movie. Joshua Keating or someone like did that book. I did not read it, so I don't really know much about that story. But that's literally, this is my knowledge of Morbius. It's all the 90s stuff for the Midnight Suns, and that's kind of all I have to go off of. So, but he's very anti-hero-ish in it, and he's very cursed, and I kind of like that. So if they play with that duality in the movie, for me at least, it'll be an interesting character to watch on screen. All right, so let me catch up on comments. What if no one sees Morbius next Friday because it's on April 1st and they think it's an April Fool's joke? I mean, that's possible. I think they're technically releasing it on the early, like the 29th, which is like a couple days from now. I think they're trying to release it early to kind of get away from that, so people know on April 1st that it really is out. So yeah, I think they probably had that fear at last second. They clearly, I don't think, did when they announced it for that being the new release date, but I think they did afterwards, which is funny. Morbius has a budget of 75 million, 200 million at the box office sounds possible. It does, but that's still a flop because, if we talked about this on movie stuff before, I know Grace Randolph probably does it a little bit better than I do about it, which is when movies come out, the studio only gets 50% of movie tickets for like the opening weekend, sometimes a little bit longer, but typically just the opening weekend. So let's say it makes 150 million opening weekend worldwide. Then boom, that's half of that is 75 million. That means theoretically, they made close to their budget back, but you still have to add on the fact that they probably spent another 75 million to market the movie. So then they got to make, they would basically have to make 300 million worldwide opening weekend and get 50% of that profit. And that kind of breaks them even. And then everything after that would be gravy. So that would be seen as a success, but 200 million is possible, most likely, but not a success. So this movie would have to do really well. And if it wants to be a Venom level success where it's a no-brainer to continue the franchise, then it needs to make like 500 or 600 million, because Venom cost like 100 million to make and they spent 100 million marketing it, but it made almost 900 million. So that's, and then you got to cut that in half. So that's about a $300 million profit, mostly that movie made, somewhere between 200 and $300 million profit, because every week the movie's out, the studio gets less and less of the ticket sale prices. So there's a lot of like that, like a lot of math going on. And that's why people go like, well, why does Batman vs Superman, why did that have to make $1 billion? And it's like, well, because that movie cost like $250 million to make. So it's gotta do that to be considered a massive success, to where it makes sense to continue the franchise the way it is without changing things. So that's why we run into that a lot. And that's like Batman's going through that right now. I'll have my review up soon in the next day or two, but the Batman is doing really well. It's like 600 million worldwide, but it bombed in China. It only made like $12 million. And I think Warner Brothers was hoping it would make a lot more. So if that movie would have made $1 billion, that would have been a really clear sign like they got to continue that franchise. But it's still doing well, so they're most likely going to continue it. But they may now go, okay, well, it didn't do as well as we wanted, so we want to have some say in your next endeavor. Like, for example, I don't know if they'll let Matt Reeves make another 3-hour Batman movie, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But I still like the movie, and my review will go up at some point. Point taken. Morbius, however, is a more complicated case in my eyes since the character isn't really that known. Oh, please, no, make it work. Yeah, he is a little bit more of a blank slate for the masses. Venom isn't. Venom, most people had an idea of who Venom was. So that's why there was a lot of like, oh, but Spider-Man's not in this movie. We got a lot of that when Venom 1 came out. But Tom Hardy's so likable and pulled so many people in that they gave it a chance, and it worked out. And then even the second movie, although it didn't profit as much, still did really well, enough to continue the franchise. Because I think it made like, 500 million or so. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's not great, but it's still not in the negative. So that's good. My favorite Morbius has suction cups on his hands and drinks plasma. Yes, right. Yes, that's right, from the show. Man, thanks for reminding me of Ketch's GR days and the Midnight Suns. I really like the Howard Mackie run, and mention the MS reminded me of Len Kaminsky's Morbius run. Yeah, Len Kaminsky did the Morbius book in the beginning. I think Greg Wright took over for him afterwards. Len Wein did that one-shot story in Midnight Suns #1. But yeah, great stuff. I mean, like that. If you haven't gone back and watched those episodes I've done, or if you haven't ever watched them, you should check it out. I have every appearance Dan Ketch has ever been in, and I did a series of videos where I just go through all the comics. So I'm like, all right, here's everything from 1994 to 1995, and I did like a dozen videos where I just went through each year that Dan Ketch existed, and I talk about all of his appearances. Then I did an episode, because I have every issue of Ghost Rider 2099 and some of the other Ghost Rider runs that have been out there. So yeah, those are fun videos, and I love talking about that run. And the closer we get to the Midnight Suns video game coming out, you'll see more content like that from me closer to that game's release for sure. Oh my God, Morbius from Spider-Man the Animated Series was one of the best arcs of the whole show. I loved it. I thought that was really good. And he fell in love with Deb Whitman, right? Which was not very comic accurate, but it was still pretty good. And one of these Morbius issues, his love interest, I'm blanking on her name right now, but she dies. And that's what I think in Morbius #1 by Len Kaminsky. And she dies in it. And that kind of propels him to work with the heroes and try to find a cure for himself at the same time. And so yeah, it was awesome. And that's a big issue for Morbius, for his overall story. And that 90s stuff is so much fun. Hand plasma over a regular bite. Yeah, there you go. Still polybagged, very nice. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. I actually have, this is the issue, and then this is the poly bag behind it. Yes, with Ghost Rider's face on it. So yeah, normally it looks like that, where it's covering him. So yeah, very cool stuff. Hey back, Andrew. What's up? Welcome back, dude. What's up, Siike? Hope things are getting better. I can't say I'm excited for Morbius or really Sony's verse much anymore. I'll probably watch it on Redbox or something eventually. Hey, that's all right, man. I feel you on that though too. My friend Nate is not very excited for Morbius at all. So I don't know if I'll be able to drag him to go see it with me. but I'm planning to go see it on Saturday. Saturdays are my days off. So next Saturday, I plan on going to see Morbius at like a matinee. And I don't know, we'll see. I'll make up my mind about it and share my review of it with you guys later that night, probably. But yeah, I don't know. I'm iffy on it. Like, I want it to do well, but he's just not a character I probably would have immediately thought of to do next after Venom. And I also still am struggling with the Kraven the Hunter solo movie concept. So I don't know. I mean, good luck, Sony, but I feel like a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie, I would have probably much rather would have watched or liked to watch over Morbius and well, not Kraven. Kraven's a character. He's my favorite Spider-Man villain, but I like him as a Spider-Man villain. But most people felt like that a way about Venom, and that movie turned out to be pretty good. So we'll see. And then there's also Madam Web, I think, is now coming out. So yeah, we'll see. But Madam Web is very essential to the Spider-Verse. So I kind of like that they're doing a solo movie about her. And hopefully, like I said, remember I pitched a while back on a live stream. I talked about how I would do it like Indiana Jones style, where it's like this young girl. She's kind of like a Laura Croft, and she's an explorer, and she's looking for this, this hidden power or whatever. And she ends up finding it in this old woman, kind of like Shazam style. And by the end of the movie, the power is passed on to Julia Carpenter, or whoever the new Madam Web they want to be is. And then she ends up being the key to connecting all the Spider-Verses. That could be cool, but I don't know. I don't know if I give Sony that much credit for coming up with a story that will be compelling to me. But hey, if they get good actors in it, like they do with Venom, I'm on board. Did you hear about Nicolas Cage clearing out his debts? I haven't, but good for him, finally. That new movie of his is getting great reviews. So the Incredible Agnes of Being, no, it's Incredible something about being super talented. Yeah, so we'll see. Tom Hardy really is what the Venom movies is why the Venom movies succeeded. 100% feel that way. I do. He's so likable and he's so committed to that role. So it makes it fun to watch. What's up, Cam? How's it going? Welcome. If you already opened, you should get rid of the polybag. They're actually bad for the life of the comic. I mean, possibly, but I don't know. It's too cool. And I don't care if Morbius 1 gets destroyed, really. But I don't know. I've had this book for a long time. I mean, it's been open for a long time, and the poly bag's always been in it. The only thing I change out is the bags and boards. Like every 5 or 10 years, I change out. I take everything out of bags and boards and buy all new bags and boards. So that's the only thing I've changed. But I don't know. It still looks in good condition. Yeah, but I appreciate the feedback on it. I actually didn't know that was a thing. I've been intentionally avoiding reviews because I wanted to give him a chance. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to do. Although I've heard earlier, I think Eddie said like people are trashing. Oh, they're trashing Halo. So yeah, I don't know what the verdict is on. Although I thought Blacktastic put up a video about Morbius. I don't know if you saw it earlier or not, but he put up a thing on Instagram saying he didn't like it or something, or like a bad movie review or something. So I don't know, but I'm not going to watch his review on it yet until I see the movie, because I like to go in as blank slatey as possible if I can. I agree with you that Silver and Black double act movie would have been a better call. I just think it could have been more fun, but it could have also been really bad too. So, you never know. It's a coin toss. Seeing you mention Ketch made me wonder why you think of Johnny. I personally have a soft spot because of the original Ghost Rider stories, but think he lost some direction. I'm not a fan of Johnny Blaze, actually. Dan Ketch is my favorite Ghost Rider, but I'm not like so stubborn to say he's the only Ghost Rider, obviously. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Johnny Blaze. I never have been. But the new issue 1 was pretty good, actually. I still wish it was a Dan Ketch story. I hated that we finally got Dan Ketch back. And then pretty quickly in the book, they made him no longer a Ghost Rider, and they made him like the Ghost Rider of Limbo or something. And I was kind of like, I mean, it's different, I guess, but I like him as Ghost Rider. I was kind of hoping for more of a supernatural, like a TV show vibe, where it's like him and his brother. They're both Ghost Riders, and they're driving across country fighting demons. I was looking for a more grounded story like that may eventually grow into something bigger. But I think... was it Ed Brisson who wrote that book? I think he had big plans for that book, but he jumped into them too soon. And that's probably because he was like, I got to make this a big deal. And the 50th anniversary is next year, because this was last year. So I think he was like we got to get to the big stuff quickly, or else my book's going to get canceled. And then his book got canceled anyway. So now it looks like they're just telling like a regular, street level kind of story with Johnny Blaze, and I kind of like it. But it's funny because it's like they're doing something small on the 50th anniversary when before they had big plans for it. So I don't know. Well, I'm gonna probably read it digitally, the new series, but I did like issue 1. And I think Benjamin Percy is writing it, and I like his stuff a lot. So yeah, I guess we'll see where everything goes. Maybe they'll surprise us, but I don't know. I give Sony Pictures this though. They have balls for trying. They certainly do. I mean, I can't knock them for trying. They really want to have something. And honestly, if you look at every other attempt at a shared universe, most of them have failed. Nobody has gotten as close as Sony is right now. Sony is the closest it's been to having that success of Marvel, and that's because they get to leech off of Marvel with Spider-Man. And so, yeah, so they're the closest that have ever had success so far with the shared universe stuff. DC has had success, like Aquaman was big, Shazam did really well, Wonder Woman 1 did really well. So those movies did great, and obviously the Snyder movies have a great following, but it has been inconsistent, right? And Sony's like, Morbius is the linchpin. They're going to see if this is, I bet you if this does not do well, they will probably rethink, Madam Web and Craven a little bit for sure. You have Paramount Plus? I do too. I have it for a month. So yeah, first Halo episode, save your review of it for my review. You can list it in the comments. We'll talk about that later because this is kind of I'm trying to make this a Venom episode. So we did talk about Morbius and we went through the Midnight Sun stuff. Like I said, you can see Morbius in recent issues of Amazing Spider-Man. And then I believe he might even have a new series coming out. If it hasn't already started, it's coming soon. And then we talked about Spider-Man Red Sonja because I just didn't want to make a separate video on that. So this was nice because this was 2 video ideas that I had, and it's nice to do it in a live stream and get your feedback on it too. So hopefully this tides us over a little bit for Venom content. And then I'll watch Morbius next Saturday and I'll put my Morbius review up. And then after that, we'll get back into the black costume stuff because we still have to go over the Peter David symbiote Spider-Man miniseries. And then there's a couple other little moments of Spider-Man versus Venom that we haven't covered yet on the show that I'll pepper in. But I'm still don't think I'm going to touch any of the current stuff, at least for now. Maybe one day when they go on sale on Comixology and they're like $2.99 for the trade or $3.99 for the trade, maybe I'll pick them up then and discuss them. But until then, I'm just going to catch up on the few things that we haven't done yet. So that way we can get ready, hopefully, for some Venom 3 news at some point this year. I imagine if Morbius bombs, we will start hearing about Sony's slate of Marvel movies being in flux or whatever. It's not super knowledgeable about Craven, but yeah, I hate the idea of this solo movie. I love Craven. He's a great character. But he really does work well with Spider-Man. But like Venom, you can twist his story a little bit. Venom, we talked about that with Venom 1, where Eddie just really what you need is he needs to hate somebody, and the symbiote also needs to hate that person so they can team up together to get kind of revenge in a way. In the comics, that's Spider-Man, but in the movies, it was the Life Foundation. So you can still tweak Craven's story. He's a hunter. What should he hunt? Well, do the lizard, like that was my idea, or me and my friend Ben and James, we wrote that Spider-Man 4 script, and our idea was Craven with the lizard and Spider-Man. That was the movie. And so, yeah, I don't know. That would work. You could do that. You could have Chameleon play a part in it as, Craven's brother. You don't even have to do, who was the other character in Craven's Last Hunt? Vermin. You don't even have to do Lizard. You could do Vermin. And that's kind of a low level character that you could throw in there. That could be someone who's like eating people, and Craven is, and then plus there's all kinds of different versions of Craven. There's his son, who was like a reality TV star, kind of like the crocodile hunter or whatever that guy's name was, Steve Irwin. Like he just kind of went out and had a reality TV crew follow him, and he was like taking down bad guys or taking down monsters. So you can do stuff like that too. I mean, there's a lot of different versions of Craven that they can go with. So we'll see. Got to go. I have to have some shut eye. Y'all have a good conversation while I'm gone. Good night. Good night, Georgie. Thanks so much for being here, man. I appreciate it. Benjamin. Are you talking about Benjamin Reilly? Ben Reilly? Because I'm a big fan of Ben Reilly. But the new book has been a little inconsistent for sure. I'm way more excited for Sony's PlayStation Spider-Man 2 video game. That's likely going to be amazing. Venom in today's graphics is going to look incredible. Yes, and it's Venom and Craven. So I'm very, very pumped for that one. And obviously finding out what happens to, because they hinted at Eddie in the first game. So it'd be cool to see him show up in this game. But also they hinted at Harry Osborn being the host of the symbiote, at least in the beginning. So we'll see if that continues throughout the whole game. But I am kind of curious, that whole Norman and Harry storyline. I'm curious to see that play out too. And then also Miles being a part of it, which is great because he has the Venom Blast and Venom Sting or whatever. So it'd be cool to see him use that against the symbiote in the game. Oh, Benjamin Percy. Yeah, sorry. Benjamin Percy. I love that dude. He wrote some of the best Green Arrow stories of Rebirth. I agree. He's awesome. So him on new Ghost Rider. So if you like his stuff on Green Arrow, he's the first issue of Ghost Rider is really, really good. And it does have a supernatural kind of vibe to it, which I also like for very much. Give Johnny a chance. Hashtag give Johnny a chance. I mean, I do. Every time a new book comes out and they're like, oh, we're going to make a Johnny Blaze again, I roll my eyes and I get pissed off, but I do read it. I am a Ghost Rider fan. So I do read it. I do give him a chance. I just feel like sometimes I'm more let down than others. But that's okay. I like Robbie Reyes. I like a lot. So he was one of those other Ghost Riders that I really gravitated to. Alejandra was okay, but she had such a short career as Ghost Rider. It didn't there wasn't enough to leave an impact. Robbie, they kind of stuck with him for a while. And I like the muscle car aspect to it is really cool. And I really like Caleb, who is the Ghost Rider of the Wild West. And he was this former slave that became free. And then the people who owned the land around him, these clan member guys, they didn't like the idea of a guy being a slave being free. And so they go and kill him and his family. And he kind of comes back like the Crow, but as a Ghost Rider. I like that character a lot because he's riding a horse, kind of the way Noble Kale did with and being a Ghost Rider. So yeah, I don't know. So I like the mythos of Ghost Rider. I even like Ghost Rider 2099. I really like that one. It's so different from the one we know now. I think the only ones I really don't like is Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I like Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider in the classic stories, but some of the redone stuff I haven't really loved too much. But I give him a chance. I do. I like hating on him sometimes. You should watch 1833. Okay. 1833. All right. Let me write that down, or let me add that. I'll add it to the list. 1833 from Eddie's Mullet. Watch it. Eddie's Mullet recommends. Can't promise I'll get to it anytime soon, but unfortunately, I have a list of things to watch. My coworker, supervisor, she's always saying, "Oh, you got to watch this," or I don't sit around and watch stuff. I'm not that kind of person anymore. I usually lay in bed and I might have a podcast on, or I'm writing notes on my phone. Or lately, though, fatigue has been high. My headaches have been worse, so I've been laying down a lot. So when I come home, I'm not sitting at my computer like I used to. In fact, I'll go 3 or 4 days sometimes without even turning this thing on. So, but it's weird. As much as I lay in bed, I don't watch a lot. I watched Halo again this morning because I had to rewatch it in order to do the review. I own Spider-Man No Way Home, so I rewatched that recently. And then I watched Superman and Lois on the CW app. And that's literally all I watch. I think that's all I've watched in a while. So, but it's on the list for sure. Jokes aside, personally, Johnny is my favorite. Again, mostly because of the early days. I really liked his younger self's characterization, but I don't see the point in him being a writer anymore. I love the Evel Knievel kind of aspect to Johnny in the beginning. I always really loved that, but I always found him really dumb because everybody in their right mind knows that you don't make a deal with the devil. But it does make for interesting storytelling. So, but yeah, I mean, I like some of those early adventures of him as well, for sure. And him being a writer again, it's when they made him King of Hell, I was like, oh, this is an interesting way to continue Johnny Blaze's story and advancing him, and also giving Dan Ketch the spotlight. But then that didn't last very long, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I mean, him being a writer again, it's kind of that status quo. It's always going to go back to Hal Jordan. It's always going to go back to Barry Allen. And for a while, it didn't look like it would. It looked like, Hal was gone and he was the Spectre. Barry was dead for 20 something years. It just seemed like those stories were over and we were ready for the new stuff. But in time, people who grew up with that old stuff, they want to bring it back to the way it was. And That's just how it happens. Speaking of Shazam, I finally got around to watching it and had the hilarious realization that the mall in that movie is the mall in that movie is the one I grew up visiting with my grandma. That's pretty cool. That's a fun movie. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, oh, this is good. But then my friend was like, you really got to rewatch it. So I saw it on sale for $5 at Walmart, and I bought the DVD and I brought it home and watched it. And it was better the second time. I actually really liked the movie. There's a lot of little subtle and nuanced things in it that I didn't pick up on the first time I saw it. It made me like the movie a lot more. Since you brought up Supernatural, are you ready for the Winchesters? Yeah, is that actually happening? I hope so. That's I mean, I kind of wanted the spinoff. They were going to do that show called Wayward. They've tried to do 3 spinoffs of Supernatural, and none of them succeeded. They all got canceled. Only one of them, I think, got an actual pilot. I think 2 of them got backdoor pilots, and one of them got an actual pilot that will probably never see the light of day. But it was Wayward. It was the one with like the 3 girls that have like Judy and a couple of the other characters that were in background, like in different episodes. It was like all of them teaming up to like do like, because by the end of the show, the Winchesters weren't really hunting vampires and werewolves anymore, but those creatures were still out there. So Wayward was going to be their show where these girls go out and hunt those things again, and then get caught up in other stories and stuff. So I kind of like that. I was kind of hoping that show would take off. And then I think those girls did a podcast for a while that I listened to of them talking about ideas they would have done in the show, and it just never took off. But so we'll see. We'll see if the Winchesters as well. I really don't care to watch a story about Mary and John Winchester when they were younger. I really don't care because I feel like the show did a great job of already summarizing that relationship and doing it justice. I would rather watch a Bobby prequel show with Rufus and do like, because the 2 of them were always like Lethal Weapon. Like anytime they were on an episode together in the first few seasons and they were like having to hunt and they're like, oh, we're getting too old for this crap. Like, I'm like, man, I want to see a young Bobby and a young Rufus, like in the, maybe in the 70s or 80s, hunting monsters. That would just be so cool. The budget would probably be too high for them to do it, really, but I would much rather see a show about them than John and Mary Winchester. But it's Supernatural related, so I'll give it a shot for sure. You don't like Cosmic Ghost Rider from the 90s Guardians of the Galaxy series? No, I love that one. No. Yeah, he was only in what, like 2 issues or 3 issues? 2 issues there and then like an annual later, I think. But no, I'm talking about the Donny Cates Punisher one. I know you know that, but yeah, no. Yeah, I'm just not really a big fan of that. 1833 is like an on-screen telling of Oregon Trail. Ooh. Okay. Let me add that to the list. That might get me to watch it sooner. Retelling of Oregon Trail. Cool. Thanks for adding that piece in there. I mean, I like stuff set in that time period, so that's cool. There's a couple of good Western shows on right now that I really, really want to watch and get into. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a one-trick pony in my eyes. Though I think his comment on the Venom versus Spider-Man fight from issue 317 really made me laugh. Yeah, that I don't know if I remember that exact comment, but yeah, the Cosmic Ghost Rider thing, he is kind of like, he's just like another, I don't know, they kind of try to make him like a Deadpool type, so he's like kind of wacky and fourth wall breaking at times, and I don't know, we got enough of those characters. so I'm not a big fan. Yeah, they just cast Mary and John this week. Pilot starts filming soon. All right, well then. Well, hopefully Rufus and Bobby will be in the show. That would be really cool if like Mary is trying to hide her secret life of hunting monsters from John, her very normal boyfriend. And she's running off doing hunts with these 2 guys, like Bobby and Rufus. And there's like the 3 of them. They're like the Trinity, like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And they're going out and hunting things. And, that'd be kind of fun. I don't know. That could be a good dynamic too. So we'll see. We'll see how that show goes. I hope they do a good job. But anyway, so I think I've been streaming now for an hour. That's pretty good. We talked about Spider-Man Red Sonja. We got some Morbius stuff in there. And then we jumped into some other topics too, which was a lot of fun. But my energy levels is decreasing fast. And I got to walk Ace one more time before I call it a night. And I have my sliding glass door open with all the lights on. So bugs will probably come in now. And I don't want to deal with that. So let me end the stream here and just say thank you all for your patience. Those of you who are still sticking around, I will have more. We'll have a Morbius review next Saturday. I'll have a Batman review, Halo review, and Justice League Avengers comic book review. Those 3 videos will be going up between Sunday and Friday. So between those 5 days, 6 days, you'll get a video every other day probably. And then next Saturday, I'll go see Morbius in the morning and record my review that night, and then post it on here so you guys can check that out too. And then soon after, we'll get into more stuff. I do in mid-April, I have a surgery coming up, so I'm trying to get some stuff done before then, and I might try to record a couple things to have and edit them to have, so when I'm resting, I can schedule them to go up while I'm on bed rest. So we'll have videos pre-recorded and ready for that week. And then the week after that, my day job is going to get a little bit more intense for me. So some of you know that I recently applied for a promotion and I didn't get it. And it was right after Echo passed. It was, I was already feeling low, self-confidence wise. That really crushed me. It brought me to a really low point. And then my health got affected by it because of how just depressed I got and how I changed. I literally was just a mess. And so I think work, I've been working even harder at work than I have. And it's been kind of exasperating my condition even more on some level. So it's just a lot. It's been a lot. So I talked to work and they're giving me some more operational stuff to do because they wanted to pass me to another store. And I looked at that as a kind of I don't want to be mean and say it was a demotion, but I work at a dealership and this was a gift shop. And I'm better when I can multitask. It's just better for my health because the more things I can check off every day on a list to do, the less chance I'll have an episode at work. So I'm trying to I'm trying to do what's best for my health as well. And I really thought getting that promotion, that would have been great because I could have been the one making the tasks or helping with that. So we know what to do every day. And I thought that was going to be a win-win for everybody. And someone just didn't see the value in me taking that position. So I'm shaking it up a little bit at work as far as I'm doing more operational stuff at my location, but the location they try to send me to, I reached out to that person who's the manager there. And I told her I was flattered that she wanted me to come work over there. And I also heard that her mother-in-law is going through they're going through a really rough time family-wise. And I said, I know they've been struggling to get employees at that store in general. So I said, if I can come help a couple days a week, and then, I'm offering to help. And she said, well, if you do that, you can work with me so that I don't have to work by myself some of these days because that's what she's been doing is working alone. She's like, so if you come and work a couple days a week with me, I'll train you on the manager stuff that you don't know. And this way, next time a position opens up, literally no one has an excuse not to hire you for it because you'll have all the proper training. Whereas this last time you had most of it, but that was when you don't have all of it, that can sometimes be used as an excuse not to give you the job. She's like, now they'll have no excuse. They'll have to promote you. They'll almost have to give you the job in a way, and I think she's trying to boost my confidence. And I needed that. I needed my self-worth to go up because I've been feeling awful. I feel in some way responsible for Echo. And although that was out of my control, we took him to the vet. We did everything we could. It was just his time to go. But I just still feel like I could have done more, and Ace, he's still in pain and I feel like I could do more, but I just don't have the money to. So it's just a lot of that. And then also not getting the promotion made me feel like all of my hard work for a year and a half for this company has been just unrecognized and unseen and not appreciated. And I just kept going down, and I allowed myself to. The thing is, when these things happen to you, you're the only thing you're in control of is how you react to it. And I just did not react well. And I just kept letting it push me downward. So that's why I've been focusing more on my day job because it provides a routine that I need for the issues I'm having now health-wise. And plus it also keeps a roof over my head, so I got to do the best I can at that job and pull my weight, sick or not, I got to pull my weight. So anyway, so that's why after my surgery, I'm going to be focused a lot more on work, but I will still try to get, at least 1 or 2 videos out a week if I can on my days off. They may be live streams, so they may not actually be edited stuff. It's not me trying to be lazy. It's just me trying to balance my time better and provide myself with more time to rest. And it's just easier for me to do these, StreamYard live streams. So maybe what I'll do is if I get the next bonus, I'll pay for the StreamYard upgrade. So that way, when we do these live streams, I can at least include video, pictures and stuff, and scanned images and things like we used to. I'll bring that back to kind of balance out, the lack of editing and stuff. So thank you. I mean, thanks for letting me get that off my chest. But that's what I've been up to. So, I apologize that this channel's been neglected. I do at least 1 a week. I'm going to do live streams on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I now have a public Instagram account. It's called @SiikeIsAConstruct. If you follow me there, then you'll see once a week I'll do live streams over there. Probably do them on Monday or Tuesday nights, I'm thinking. So you'll see at least 1 of those a week over there. And then, like I said, I'll try to at least do 1 or 2 videos for here a week if I can, too, starting in after my surgery. So, but until then, I'll try to catch up on stuff for sure. Let me catch up on comments and then we'll get out of here. Yeah, they just cast Mary and John. Okay, yeah. So, well, we'll see. Take it easy. Hey, talk soon, Andy. Thank you so much for being here. You going to check out the new Spidey 2099 book? I see Ghost Rider's on the cover with Miguel. I might, because if it's Ghost Rider, I might. But I also do love Spider-Man 2099. And I imagine when the Spider-Verse movie comes out next Christmas, you'll see me on the Venom vlog here do some Spider-Man content. I'll probably do 2099 episodes. Spider-Gwen, we'll finally do more Spider-Gwen stuff. And then any other Spider-Man multiverse characters we see that are going to pop up in that movie, we'll do episodes on them. So, and then obviously when the Spider-Man 2 video game, when we get more information on that, I'll make episodes on the Venom vlog for that too. So that'll be the Venom vlog content when there's no movie content. It'll be the Spider-Man game, and it'll be the new Spider-Verse movie. He's kind of disappeared, hasn't it? And last time I saw Cosmic Ghost Rider, he was in Aaron's Avengers run. Yeah, and that's still too soon for me. But yeah, he doesn't really do too much. And he only appeared in that run really because Donnie and Jason Aaron are really good friends. So it was his way of keeping him around. But I wouldn't be surprised if Donnie throws Cosmic Ghost Rider into his new Hulk book at some point for a cameo, just to keep him around. Honestly, Siike, I know how it feels. It's like fighting gravity every day. Every day it feels like it. I'm fine with pulling back. You have to take care of yourself, and surgery is not nothing, especially when it's neurological. I mean, I know it's a procedure I've had done before, but it's 4 days of bed rest, and then I'm going to have to get back into the swing of working. So it's just going to be a lot for me, but I'll do my best, and I'll try to keep up. Like I said, while I'm on bed rest, I'll schedule videos to go up that week, at least 2 videos at the very least. So be on the lookout for those. And I'll promise to make at least one of them Venom related for sure. So, all right, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. I really do appreciate it. And I'll come back and do more of these at some point. Like I said, I'll try to upgrade StreamYards next month and get, the paid stuff. I'll wait to do it after my surgery. So that way I don't miss a week. I pay for it and then for a whole week I can't use it. So we'll wait till the week after my surgery and we'll do it. So thank you. I really appreciate everything, you guys. You guys are awesome. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Good night, everyone. Good night, Andrew. Good night, Andy. And I'll see you all in the future. Peace. All right, Ace, let's go.